Sakat from Future Group, you've done a lot of promotions and activities earlier in Spencer's and now in Future Group. Now, when you do these activities and, when you're buying international food, gourmet is, it's always very fudged in India. Gourmet is always international in India. Anything imported becomes gourmet. So now, that is something that, you in Spencer's used to have this whole gourmet section, which was kind of an imported section. There was these staples and there was some bit of mixing happening, but now you keep on changing from store. In future, on the other side, there is nothing as specified that this is gourmet and this is non-gourmet. You have a whole aisle, you have the Indian products available, as along that the international range is also available. So what do you see as a challenge, or what would you expect out of trade to work with you as a company and trying to remove all these hindrances of supply chain?
Thanks, Abid. I think there has been issue on both the sides, which I think in some of my previous sessions I have commented as well. I think one point you harped upon, which is on demand forecasting. I think that is absolutely right. I think not only us, I think every company is struggling to make that science correct. And I still feel there is a long way to go before we make that absolutely correct, the kind of madness in our retailing system, what we have, the kind of growth we are envisaging in next few years. I think there will always be some kind of madness what will be involved. But yes, I mean, in that scenario, as much correction we can do, as much streamlining we can do in terms of demand forecasting, which is a must for any kind of acceptance what we expect, or the supplies what we expect from all of you. We need to correct that. That's one piece. And second thing is definitely the consistency of the products coming into India or coming into various retailers or food service organizations. Just Chef Oberoi just mentioned that sometimes few articles are available, sometimes it is not. So even at some point of time we want to create habit among our shoppers, we need to keep the products pretty consistently. Nowadays, as we see that everyone, I think in this room also, everyone is a chef, everyone can cook, everyone knows about food. I think that has become a trend, and I think we need to keep ourselves ready, prepared, and to be more knowledgeable that our shoppers or the consumers are, and we have to set our things correct. So I think the responsibility is from both the sides. So as far as Future Group is concerned, I think we have all of these things in mind, and actions are being taken all around. We are growing at a very fast rate, as everybody is aware. So there may be some issues which may be cropping in, but demand forecasting is something which we are trying to correct in very seriously. I think there'll be a marked improvement going forward.
Absolutely, and I agree with you on your growth factor. The way you are buying companies, or Byaniji is buying companies across, over a period of time, there will be only 2 families holding the entire grocery trade in India. But I want to go to the other bit of the shopping trends, and I want to talk to Avinash about the shopping trends at Godrej Nature's Basket. And what are the changes that you've seen over the years in the shopping trends, and this new, what Sakat was talking about, people who talk about food or call themselves the so-called foodies, bloggers, foodies, social media experts, I make fun of them a lot of times, but they must be coming to your store as well and demanding a lot of attention, a lot of products.
Sorry, you forgot the kitty party aunties. Honestly, they probably know more about wine, everything, than any one of us.
So, Avinash, what are the changes that you see in the shopping basket of a family or a household?
So overall, hello everyone. So first of all, I would like to share how international food is very important for us, because it is contributing around 38 to 40% to the overall business. So that's how international food is important for us. And there are certain categories like chocolates, confectionaries, breakfast cereals, and your snacking, where the contribution is as high as 50 to 70%. So major issue what we are facing in international food is the availability on the consistent basis. So that is one of the area where we are seeing a lot of issues. And if you look at the type of growth what we are doing in international food, we are growing at a rate of around 18 to 20%. But there are certain months, if the availability level is at 80-90%, the growth is as high as like 70 to 80%. And in some months where the availability level is at 20 to 30%, the growth is like a single digit or a negative growth. So now on the perspective of shopping trends, if you feel the health is the biggest trend what we have seen in the overall store, and there are a lot of categories in every segment. Like for example, in juices. Now in juices, cold pressed juices is now contributing around 60 to 70% to the overall sales. And if you talk about milk, now milk as a category, we have seen almond milk, which was like 2 years back, which was like a significant 1 to 2% to the overall sale. Now it is around 50% contribution to the overall milk category for us. Now third biggest trend what we are seeing is on the bakery. Now bakery as a portfolio is the highest growing category for us from the last 1.5 year. We have seen a growth of around 50% year on year, like to like. And if you look at our earlier, like 2 years back, we were mostly selling whole wheat bread and multigrain. These were the two mix. And if you talk about indulgence and health contribution on that, indulgence was in the range of around 80-90%, where health was hardly a contributor to the 5 to 10% on the overall bakery range. Now, if you look at last year data, the contribution of healthy breads is now contributing around 30% to the overall bread sales, which include all your quinoa bread is the fastest selling SKU in our store. Your barley bread, or your bajra, rai. These are the categories which are like giving a strong trend in the overall sales. So health, as of now, if you talk about health and organic as an overall portfolio, in our overall sales, 30 to 40% of the sales is coming only from the health segment.
Absolutely. And we were talking about earlier with the trade commissioners, and when Peru spoke about the quinoa story, quinoa in itself has grown from leaps and bounds in the way it has been used and the new innovations which we see on the creative side. But I want to move from the retail to the hospitality sector, and I want to speak to Nitin, who represents the Hospitality Purchase Managers Association, and understand that you have all these members, and they must be telling you about the challenges that they face on a day-to-day basis. So let's not talk about beef or other things, but small literal commodities which were earlier coming in. So I was speaking to a chef, and he told me that 10 years ago, the array of products that were available to him has shrunk down by 30% to 40% to 60% in certain hotels, and they're always looking for local replacements, which might not be of the highest quality, but because they want consistency and they cannot change their ingredients again and again. So what are the challenges as a trade body that your members come to you about?
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Nitin Nagrale. I'm the Vice President Materials at Foodlink Restaurants and Catering, and I'm also the founder of Hospitality Purchasing Managers Forum. Before I answer this question, I want to answer your previous question which you asked Jahangir, that if Chef Oberoi asks for a product, what do? You just go and buy it. You don't. I have worked for Chef Oberoi for 5 years, and whenever there was a call from his office, you don't even need to wait for Chef Oberoi's call, his secretary, or if there is a request which comes from him, you do not think, you go and buy it. So, and that's what we did in 95 till date. So Chef Oberoi has retired about a year ago, but there was never said to him, because if there is a call, obviously chef knows what he wants, and then he had a big board behind his office which said chef is always right. so we never argued with him ever. So Jahangir will remember, because it was there in his office. He had very boldly written. So what I also want to say here is we have learned a lot under the leadership of Chef Oberoi. You talked about chefs, but me being in procurement, learned so much that Chef now talked about Peruvian chilies now. But then in 95, he gave us the seeds for red and yellow capsicum. In 1995, I'm talking about. And he said that we must start growing it here. And that's the time we grew the first red and yellow capsicum through a company called Ace Agro in Pune. That's all. The credit of that being available today in India goes to only Chef Hemant Oberoi. And I really mean it, because many things were being imported through Netherlands. Netherlands used to be the consolidating country then. Now we buy from anyone and everyone. But then that's the time we would buy everything through Delhi Foods and Fossen Foods from Netherlands. So now coming back to your question, so in the association, the biggest challenge at the moment, I would say, is the misunderstanding or misinterpretation of the law. lot of us do not read in between the lines. A lot of us do not understand what to do. I was involved in creation of codex for FSSAI. I was the only hotelier out of the 73 people who were involved, and the rest 72 were either food scientists or they were doctors. And I don't know why and how I got involved, but then in 2011 when we created, I was involved. And I was involved in setting up these standards for meat, fish, poultry, and eggs. And it was a team of 7 people. And so I really back up what FSSAI has done today for the country. And the objective intentions are really nice. Only we are not yet prepared. Our importers or the exporters are not even yet prepared. Reason, we have specific labeling norms. We have specific requirements. And then as the lady said about foie gras, wherein she's got a very limited requirement. So the exporter is not going to create so much label just for us. So that becomes a big challenge wherein people need to understand. I would recommend that all of us, all importers, all buyers will have to come together and support maybe one brand which will be available everywhere. Maybe support one product which will be available through everyone. So that we'll have to do. So when you talk about the challenges, what buyers face is one, their own lack of knowledge. The buyers do not understand it much. So, but then there is a learning curve. We have consultants who are educating us. We are Amit and his team who keep on giving us a lot of information about products being available. Also the biggest challenge here is understanding the lead time, understanding the clearance time, and understanding the storage and temperature controls. So many of us get stuck because by the time the FSSAI releases the consignment, the product either has gone bad or it has, you may not be even able to use it. In a company like ours, wherein we import goods for high-end catering, we do a lot of destination weddings, we do cruise liner events, we do many higher-end events, wherein if we do not have the product available today, then it's not required tomorrow, because it's just for the event today. So certain things will have to be, I think FSSAI will have to have an interim arrangement which allows us to bring it in, clear it, and maybe a sampler can be kept with them and then they can continue to taste it. So I think these are the challenges which I would say, Amit.
Now, I agree because, when we work together with food safety, though they are very forthcoming in terms of their approach now, but there was a management 2 years ago which was absolutely not willing to understand the importer's perspective. They were head-bent on trying to use food safety as a non-tariff barrier to stop imports into India. I want to ask Chef Oberoi, but this is not relating to the topic. I used to hear these stories that you are a very hard taskmaster of sorts.
You are right.
And people were so scared of you that the moment you used to come out of your office, everyone was on their toes, kind of shivering. Was it true? Was it your real? Because now your demeanor is so soft and subtle. What was it exactly at that point of time?
Actually, I have never shouted in my life. Even when I came out of my office, I never shouted at people. Because my philosophy was, if you don't understand my silence, you will never understand my words. So if they did not see my reactions, that I did not like something, and I moved away also, then there's no point of me being there. Yes, I've been a taskmaster, because the customers of today are different than what they were probably 40 years back. Their expectations are very high. And I was handling almost 200 crore rupees food and beverage business from Taj. Alone, one unit.
Wow.
It's a 200 crore rupees food and beverage business. And it's a tremendous pressure on you when you have 4,000 meals a day on an average to churn out. And I always believed in that doctor can kill only one patient, chefs can kill many. So the hygiene was always at the back of your mind, that you are dealing with such a big lavish wedding, you are dealing with the heads of states, and everything was a pressure of a different kind. And the quality has to be the top class. Either give the best or don't give it. And that same thing I continued even till today. And yes, for bringing quality, sometimes you have to be a taskmaster. And another request of mine is to the importers. Sorry, both the importers are here, all three of them. Sometimes the product cost is, hypothetically I say it's about 700 rupees. But the selling price in their units is about 2,000 rupees. And if we are in an urgency to get that, paying 2,000 rupees for imported asparagus, and one spear will cost you about 300 bucks. And the customer asks a question, why are you charging so much? And what to tell them that I had to buy it from ABC at 2,000 odd rupees a kilo. And my cost is more than 60%. And I'm paying a huge rental. And I think somewhere the profit margins, if they can be for the industry, for the restaurants and the hotels can be subsidized, I think I'll appreciate that.